I've been away for a very long time, and I want to speak about CDF, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, CDF is the most cost-effective fund, Mr. Speaker. It has changed lives from the poor children, the poor families, Mr. Speaker, because some could not afford to take their children to school, even as we speak. We are having a problem of hunger, even in Turkana. But CDF, Mr. Speaker, was managing to take their kids to school, even with those problems. Mr. Speaker, as I speak here, as a member of Parliament for Sirisia constituency, Mr. Speaker, I caught my constituency with 91 primary schools. And almost all of them, Mr. Speaker, were mud wall, Mr. Speaker. And we used to smear. The children used to carry some cows' feces to smear the classrooms, Mr. Speaker. But now we have managed, Mr. Speaker, I have managed to almost, with the CDF committee, to bring up almost 68 schools afresh, permanent, courtesy of CDF, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, people who are instigating to remove CDF, Mr. Speaker, sometimes you think that they are not normal. Because it is seen. Today, Mr. Speaker, I was so proud on this road, the Uhuru Highway, where I saw the passes, Mr. Speaker, about 28 passes, they were just passing. And I even told my podcasts and my drivers that, look at those passes. And there are people outside there who are saying that CDF should be removed, Mr. Speaker. 8 of them, Mr. Speaker, are fully funded by CDF. And I was very proud as a member of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, the poor children from poor families, where we come from, Mr. Speaker, have really benefited because some of them, Mr. Speaker, have been given full bursary. Like in my constituency, Mr. Speaker, every year I sponsor full bursary for 61 students, private students from poor families, to give them full scholarship. And this is, Mr. Speaker, without CDF, NG CDF, Mr. Speaker, those children could not make it to go to even high schools or universities, but some of them, Mr. Speaker, or many of them have gone through to the universities, courtesy of CDF. Every time, Mr. Speaker, we have been having problems as a house, as a country. We blame ourselves as members of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, because we are the lawmakers. And, Mr. Speaker, where we have failed, because 3 terms I've been in this House, Mr. Speaker, this problem of CDF has been occurring every term. That is a problem of CDF, that they have removed the CDF, and we are the lawmakers, Mr. Speaker. This is now the time, and let it be the last time, Mr. Speaker, for us as a House to make sure that we amend the laws. We change and amend the laws in the Constitution that allow CDF money to be used here, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this money is taxpayers' money. And those poor women in the rural, Mr. Speaker, and poor men, are the taxpayers. So their children are supposed to learn. They are supposed to go to school, Mr. Speaker. And being taxpayer, this money is not, we are there just to manage. Even Treasury manages this money for these people, these poor women, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, it has taken long because many children have come back home. They have not gone to school due to lack of school fees, because CDF is not there, because bursary is not there. But with the committee that has been constituted today, Mr. Speaker, it needs to hurry up. I know they are going to take long going around the whole country, Mr. Speaker, getting public participation. But, Mr. Speaker, when they come back, Treasury should release billions of money, because they have been saving money on their account for CDF, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, there will be no complaint for them to say that the court stopped CDF bursary or CDF. Mr. Speaker, this is their time almost from last year, from the time we went to elections up to date. Mr. Speaker, they have got enough money and enough time to make sure that the money should be released with immediate effect, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, many countries have come to this country, Mr. Speaker, to our country to learn how we use CDF. How can CDF be used? Because they hear that Kenya have a fund called CDF. Lastly, before we went to elections, I saw Uganda were here, members of parliament from Uganda, to come and to learn, to see how CDF is utilized. So we are proud, Mr. Speaker, because maybe in Africa, it is Kenya that started this fund of CDF, and other countries are learning from us. So we need to continue, not that they come to learn from us here, and then we remove ours. We cannot blame the courts, the judiciary, Mr. Speaker, because these cases were taken to them. The NGOs that did this, I think God will punish them, because these poor children at home, they are crying, not going to school. These poor families, the mothers, poor mothers home there, they are crying that their children are home. I saw those people, Mr. Speaker, they were still even arguing that they were going to remove even CDF. They are shameless. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for today. Because of time, let me donate my time to another colleague to contribute. I support.
Thank you very much, Honorable John Waluke. Your wisdom was missed. We wish you well and pray they don't